Welcome back to another edition of Fintech Friday. I'm Brian View, President and Chief Operating Officer of FinLocker. And joining me is a repeat guest, Doug Wilber with Denim Social. Doug, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me again, Brian. Excited to be here.
I love when you and I can catch up, and we have awesome hallway conference Zoom conversations, and sometimes it's cool to actually record one of those conversations. So
right?
That's what we're going to do today.
I agree.
You know, as we kind of plow our way through the beginning of 2023 here, I'm sensing and hearing a theme that you and I and our businesses really kind of preach, which is attract, engage, convert,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And I love all the things that Denim Social does for your clients and some of our mutual clients.
Yeah.
In that space, and I'd love to just kind of get an update from you on a couple things. A, what you're seeing in the marketplace as it relates to that engage and attract and engage strategy, and then I know you guys continue to advance your products. So if there's some things we can kind of tease out that are basically on the roadmap, it'd be great to share those here. So let's kind of start with the market, what you're seeing.
Yeah, well, here, let me put my coffee down because this will be an animated conversation for sure. I think for me, it's difficult, and you and I spend a lot of time on the conference circuit, right? And so there's always this, what I've seen over the last handful of months is there's a little bit of I would say kind of a disconnect between the main stage narrative and what you and I do most of the time, which is the hallway conversation. And so what I'm specifically hearing, which has me excited in the hallway conversation, is, hey, as a lender, we want to be more efficient. We want to empower relationships. We want to give our producers or loan officers the opportunity to succeed. And we need technology to be able to do that. And so that's encouraging for somebody like Denim, because that's all we're about. We're all about, the relationship that we have with the loan officer, and as a consumer, and you and I have, we've chatted about this in the past. It's as much about the loan officer. It's actually, in many ways, it's more about the loan officer than it is the brand they work for.
Yeah,
and in many ways, it's more about the loan officer than the rate.
I think especially today, and for the it's come to light in the last 6 months with what has happened in the market. For a while, the brand was super important when it was all about lowest rate wins, right?
Yeah, totally.
Now it's a different market. Deals aren't cookie cutter.
No.
The deals that are getting done have a little bit of hair on them, and to your point, the brand is important. You got to have a reputable brand, but at the end of the day, who's hitting the ground, getting the deals over the finish line is that professional loan officer.
Yeah, and so I don't know if you were hearing this, out in the field, but one of the terms that I've started to hear bubble up, and it sort of comes out of the wealth management industry. A wealth advisor thinks about assets under management, and what I'm hearing, and what I'm sure you're giving me the thumbs up, you're probably hearing this too, is like, what about loans under management?
Yeah,
how are we looking holistically at a relationship that an LO and a borrower have, not as a transaction, how we've been thinking about it, but as a broader. And as you think about and all this, there's all these stats out there. How many loans a person takes over the course of their lifetime? I think it's like 11.
Yeah.
They borrow 11 times. So if we only think about a transaction, we're missing the opportunity for 10 more transactions.
Right.
And so that's like something that we hold near and dear to our hearts at Denim, which is how do we actually put a loan officer in a position to build a deeper, more meaningful, and more engaging relationship over a longer period of time with the communities that they serve, so that you're not just driving for a transaction, you're driving for a long-term relationship. And I think about, the relationship I have with my loan officer personally. He went to high school with my wife, right? Yeah. And so, and I get the dopey email every year on my birthday. And his name's Bo, and I always tease him. I'm like, I forward him the dopey email every year that I get on my birthday, which always says, "Hey, Doug, happy birthday. I hope you're spending the day doing whatever it is you love best."
Right.
I'm like, how
reading
impersonal?
This email.
Yeah. How impersonal is that versus the stuff that he's putting out on LinkedIn, the stuff that he's putting out on Facebook and Instagram, staying engaged and staying present for me is actually having more of an impact on how I view Bo as a professional. And in many ways, all the automated stuff that we're doing on it from an email drip or otherwise is actually degrading the relationship that I have. So that's the role that we get passionate around with social, and we use this term social selling, right? And it's not all about selling per se. It's about using social media as a business development driver to stay present for your community. And how do you empower a loan officer to be able to do that is, why we wake up every morning. Yeah,
I think to kind of poke at the mortgages under management strategy, it is, I'm hearing kind of I spent some time with the top 10% originators that truly are professional in everything they do, not just in their mechanical capabilities of putting together a deal, but the full gamut of relationship management. The deals that loan officers are doing today, when you got a 5-6% kind of handle on the 30-year note rate, they're not focused on this one deal. They're basically saying this is the first in a series of transactions that are going to maybe start in the 5 or 6 handle, but over time we're going to get you into whatever that normalized rate is, whether it's a 3 or a 4.
Yeah, and I think you and I both share sort of a passion, and it's coming through with our technologies, is that the time horizon between those opportunities to re-engage is long.
Yeah.
Right? It's years between the time that you finance your home and then you go to refinance because rates are better or whatever it is, or you're buying a vacation property. These things have longer time horizon. So you need to, as a loan officer, you need to be thinking about, how do I keep myself present without just hawking product?
Right.
Because consumers, if you're because the time horizon when you're making those considerations is so long, you're as a consumer, you're like, whatever.
Right.
I'm not paying attention to the products right now because it's not relevant for me, but I am interested in what's going on in the industry, and I am interested in what you're doing as a professional. We say it all the time, people buy from people.
Yep. So when you think about kind of your best clients in terms of their engagement and the results that are kind of coming out of it, I'm guessing, and I think I have a little bit of inside baseball knowledge, that it's this concept of I'll say omni-channel, but it's more about omnipresent. It's being present across channels, and to your point, because there is in that mortgage business, there is this fixed period of time between transactions with the same consumer. It's bringing content or information to that consumer that's, again, not relevant to my deal, my transaction, but more about, am I aware of what's going on in the market, in the industry? So that maybe there's a post I see one day that says I should check out whatever the latest product is. So what are some of the best practices you're seeing kind of come to life and result in opportunities for your clients?
Yeah, I mean, I would say you're spot on. Is our customers who are driving the most impact on social media are thinking about, how do I build out an editorial schedule for my loan officers at a baseline that says, hey, as marketing, we're going to keep you present on social maybe 2 to 3 times a week. And we're going to use Denim's content engine that has third-party content. It has financial fitness content coming to them from FinLocker. It's got real estate news coming to them from Clever. It's got all sorts of different, feeds that are built into the platform. So as a marketing team, you're not hunting and pecking around on Google to figure out what do you say on behalf of loan officers. Right? So that's kind of a baseline. And then really where we're seeing a lot of success is, and Nola Morris on our team, she came from Nationwide. She ran the social selling program at Nationwide for all these years. So she's really done a great job over the last, call it 12 months or so, of advocating for what true social selling is. And what true social selling is empowering your people to take control of their social presence.
Right.
So yes, marketing's providing this baseline. Yes, we're feeding really rich and interesting content from the mainstream media as well as from partners like yourselves. but then empowering those loan officers to say, when you're closing a loan, why don't you take a picture with that borrower?
Yeah.
And it'll still run through the same compliance engine.
Yep.
Okay? But it's taking more control. Or, hey, we're going to do, you got a 5-star review from experience.com. We ingest all that content now. So you're not posting it at 2:00 in the morning.
Right.
It's decoupling when that borrower finishes the review and saying, hey, maybe every Wednesday, you as the LO, you pick out your favorite review for the last couple of days, and then you slap a picture on top of it. Again, taking more control of your social presence, but making sure as a loan officer that you have confidence to know what your swim lane is.
Yeah.
And that's where all of our compliance tools come in and are super helpful for a loan officer, because one of the things that we've heard, and we've talked to hundreds of loan officers, one of the biggest reasons why they stay on the sideline from social media is they're scared to get in trouble with compliance.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So if we can make that really tight and less scary, we see massive adoption, and then the results they speak for themselves.
Yeah, I remember my time in mortgage production management and kind of battling the the compliance superhighway. Another relevant topic is for us in the mortgage industry is this compressed volume, compressed margins, pressure on earnings, all that stuff, which results in reductions in resources, right?
Yep.
Talk to me about how a platform like Denim actually helps continue that continuity, even when you have less resources in the marketing department. Yeah,
I think it comes down to a couple of things, and really over the last, call it 18 months or so, we've focused heavily on ecosystem. So in a market where things are more difficult and investments are being scrutinized a little bit more by the CFO, having a platform that is compatible with other pieces of technology that you've already invested in is paramount, right? And so that's why we've spent so much time integrating with industry-leading CRM providers, reviews and reputation management platforms, folks like you guys, building, and it's sort of this whole notion of it takes a village, right? Yeah. And if we as a community of solution providers get together and say, we want to make sure that our platforms are interoperable so we can unlock more value from the customer.
Yep.
That's been a strategic focus of ours, and why we've spent so much time building these relationships and these integrations with these other platforms is because we know that if we can unlock more value collectively, we're doing the right thing for the customer, and we're always about doing the right thing for the customer first. And if we do those things, then it becomes less about price, and it becomes more about value.
Right.
And that's where we all want to be as an industry, is talking about how do we create value together. So that's one thing. I would say the other thing that we're really focused on is just creating operational efficiencies for marketers. Even before what we're looking at right now, I mean, it was one time out of 100, we'd hear from a marketing department. It's like, oh yeah, we've got more resources than we know what to do with. We've got people sitting around. We take long lunches. Marketing has always been under-resourced.
Right.
And so when we're thinking about our product and our product roadmap and the solutions we're bringing to the market, it's all about efficiency. How do I actually give a marketer the ability to do more with the same amount of time they have allocated to social today? How do I give them more value and more results for the energy they're putting behind social?
Right. I love that. That's and it is, as much as the loan officer is your target customer, I think your real audience is that marketer, right? Because you're really helping them scale.
Yeah. The folks that we're having a positive impact on are those customer facing loan officers. They're getting the benefit of this.
Yeah.
But it's all I like to say that there's essentially 3 users within our platform. There's marketing, who is creating content, curating content, governing who has access to it. It's compliance, who's approving it. They're archiving all that content, but then it's the loan officer. It's the ability for those 3 discrete groups to be able to collaborate within a platform that creates that operational efficiency. I mean, we've seen everything. I mean, before they start using Denim, they're sending emails around. They've got Google Docs, if they're allowed to have Google Docs. Maybe they're doing it on a spreadsheet and emailing a spreadsheet around. It's a nightmare to manage all this unless you have a platform that makes it super efficient to manage it all in one place.
So let's. I know at the tail end of 2022, I saw some posts that you all pushed out from your B2B marketing team at Denim.
Yeah.
And you had some amazing metrics and statistics that you shared in terms of impressions and all that cool stuff. Like,
yep.
You guys have grown tremendously kind of year over year. Just to give the audience some idea of the scale of the impact you have, maybe share some of those key metrics with us.
Yeah, for sure. We're really fortunate that we've had so many great lenders come onto our platform over the last year or so, and we've got great partners that are helping to facilitate that. What we're seeing is just an absolute explosion in usage of the platform. Like on an annualized run rate, and don't hold me to this, but I'm right now, if I had to guess on the numbers, we're cranking out somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 million social media posts are originating from Denim Social on an annualized basis.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's a massive amount of content that is being curated, orchestrated, governed, and then ultimately pushed out on social media using our engine that we've built. And so that's just one of the indicators that we're seeing is if people are using the platform more and more and more, then they're getting value from it.
Right.
How do we look at that value and sort of looking forward? The things that we're looking to be more intelligent about is creating that feedback loop. We already have analytics in the platform that's helps people understand what's working, what's not working.
Yeah.
But how do we actually make more insightful suggestions over time based on, hey, we're looking at the data across all of our customers,
right,
across multiple industries. This is the content that's resonating. This is the content that's not resonating. Let's help you go source more content that's going to resonate with your specific community, but also anchor that against the sort of the broader narrative that's happening in the industry.
Yeah, that's the fun part to me.
A little sort of peek under the hood as to where we're going as a platform, and another sort of peek under the hood is how do we actually use some of our other capabilities to actually and look, I think it's we will never position ourselves as a lead gen platform because that's not really what social is. But there is value in understanding if leads are coming from social, how are we measuring it?
Yep.
So you'll see more stuff over the course of this coming year from us from a product perspective that's going to tighten that gap between how can I start to measure, and that's where the integrations with CRM providers like Total Expert and Accelerate and Surefire and all these other ones, that's where it's super valuable because that's where that moment of truth happens. Right, is in the CRM. Our value is to make sure that we're measuring those breadcrumbs or tracking those breadcrumbs back.
Yeah, that's the geeky, nerdy, fun part of really digging into the analytics. But I think that's also where the gold is for showing value back to your partners. And it's not always, to me, it's not always about kind of giving them the pat on the back and saying, hey, you did great here. Look at how great these things perform. Sometimes it's, hey, when you talk about this topic, it's killing you. Stop doing that. And I think that's where you get to.
That's one of the things too for us. That's always been really important. Is as much as we preach to the market that people buy from people, and that's why social matters. We believe that internally as well.
Right.
And so that's why our customer teams spend so much time working on strategies with customers, helping them understand their metrics, helping them to benchmark their metrics against other people in the industry so that we can make more insightful recommendations on a quarterly, semi-annual basis that says these are the pivots you need to be making in your content strategy that's going to drive more thought leadership opportunities for your field force.
Right. Yeah. A good example is, you see, I follow a bunch of different groups on social, and there's some loan officer groups that I follow where there's hundreds or thousands of LOs in this group. Mm-hmm. And you can tell when that group creates a new piece of content because all of a sudden I'm seeing the identical same thing on everyone's post, which is fine. That's good. But I think what your platform is able to give feedback to the lender to say, great concept, great content, but it doesn't resonate with your audience. Why are you doing this?
Yeah. Or how do we give you the ability to humanize that content, right? Humanize that for your persona. Yeah. So grabbing that same piece of approved content, but then how do we use technology to help you personalize that post so it's going to resonate with your particular audience? Everybody's audience is different. Right. And we've got a lot of, you and I have a lot of overlap. So we see a lot of the same stuff, but we have to remember a loan officer isn't connected to you and me.
That's right.
Right? They're connected to borrowers who are in a local community who don't overlap necessarily with borrowers from another community. So we need to give that loan officer the ability to humanize that content. And that's where it comes down to empowerment, right? How do we help coach a loan officer to understand why they need to take more control over this, why they need to care about it?
It's been, from my seat, it's been super fun to watch the growth at Denim. I love what you guys are doing. I love the energy, the growth. Of course, love our partnership and relationship. So congratulations, Doug, to you and your team. As great as 2022 was for you as a business, I can't imagine what 2023 is going to look like. So congrats to you guys.
Yeah. Well, we've got an idea, and there's a couple more tricks up the sleeve for this year. But those will be disclosed out on the conference circuit, this year. So I'm sure we'll see you on the field and in St. Louis.
That's right, in St. Louis. So, Doug, thanks as always for the partnership, the friendship. Thanks for coming on and sharing with my audience a little bit about Denim, and looking forward to great things going forward.
Right on, brother. Appreciate it.
Man. See y'all. See you next Friday.